Welcome, everybody, to the Kingdom Way. We have a privilege today of meeting up with a very special person, Pat Leibfried. Already messed up her name. All right, real life. That's okay. Now, Pat's going to tell her story. She's not carnivore, but she has transformed her life. And she's been doing it with meat and Jesus. That's the carnivore way. But she's on a little bit different eating plan, just to show that we're all unique and God leads us in different paths, and yet He wants health. He wants an abundant life for all of us. She's pretty powerful. Been a Weight Watchers leader for a long time that she'll share, and conquered cancer. So let's get Pat on the stage here.
Hi,
Welcome,
Cathy.
Pat.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here today with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you've shared your story with me, and I find it so fascinating. I mean, anybody that's conquered cancer, that is fascinating
Right,
in
right.
itself, right?
It
And
is.
it's a brutal
Right,
disease.
right.
And but also you were a Weight Watchers leader. And I'm like, wow. But
Wow.
before
Hmm.
we get to that, Pat, I'd like to hear a little bit of maybe your growing up, maybe your eating plans, or not. Like, were you a standard American diet kind of girl growing up, or what was your growing up like, your teen years before you got to the Weight Watchers deal?
Okay, okay. Well, we all have our stories of life. So I'll just tell you my story of life. Uh, my life was very challenging at 16 years old when my brother passed away of lung cancer.
Mm, I'm
The next
sorry.
year, my dad passed away from a broken
Oh
heart.
my,
The next year, my
yeah.
grandfather passed away from age, high blood pressure. And so I have been sad. I was sad very many years until the Lord brought me out of that. But I'd like to say my mother was a healthy cook, and but she showed love with food.
Yes,
Patty, Patty, do
that's
you like
common,
that?
isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
Patty, do
that's
you like
common.
that? Have a second helping.
Yeah.
And it was out of love, though. So after all this, and after my marriage, I started gaining weight for 3 years, and I call it my. The reason I joined Weight Watchers was I had four B's: blood pressure, belt, spangle, bracelet, and boots. My blood pressure was very high. My blood pressure was very high. Okay. Uh, Belts, I felt like a sausage in my belt at that time.
Mhm,
Bangle bracelet
mhm.
didn't fit my wrist. No, no, no. I couldn't even. I wanted to. It was supposed to buy one for myself and couldn't even buy one. And boots, the zipper
Yeah,
boots, the zippered boots, they wouldn't zip. They
I
were my
know.
pants. Okay,
I
okay.
had those before and it wouldn't zip. Yeah,
Right, right. It's very
I get it.
aggravating, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I joined Weight Watchers, and uh, I was a pretty healthy eater, but I didn't recognize what my really problem was. Uh, After being married a while to a narcissist, um, I was not successful in losing weight. And it was 10 years before God came to me and gave me strength by saying, okay, let's see. Uh, oh, Pat, your patterns are holding you back. I mean, it had to be the Holy Spirit saying, Pat, wake up.
Absolutely.
Pat,
Yeah.
wake up. It's 10 years. You haven't lost any weight. Okay. Your patterns are holding you back. So my patterns were emotional eating, binge eating. I was told this:
Yeah.
binge eating, volume eating, and mindless eating. I wasn't told that by anybody else but the Lord.
No, it was God that showed that to you.
Yes, yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
Kathy, I took it step by step by step in order to lose my weight because being controlled in my marriage, okay, food was controlling me. And boy, I don't want to be controlled by anybody else but God now.
That's
Right,
right. That's right.
right,
Or
right.
anything. You don't want to be controlled by food either.
No, no, so that was really in my mind, okay? I have to change. So my emotional overeating, I was aware. I don't know if anybody out there can relate to this. I'd wait till everybody would go to bed. Then I would go into the kitchen and pick up my bag of potato chips, the big bag, not the small bag. I would pick up a Diet Coke with that, of course, and I would sit in my eating chair. And I can remember the noise of that bag when I popped it open.
Yeah.
And I could smell, oh my gosh, it excited me, okay? And eating that whole bag would satisfy the sadness or satisfy the control, whatever it was, food was, it was emotional eating. It made me
Yes.
happy and it became a habit. Now, the binge eating. Binge eating, that's a different story for me than emotional overeating. And that was just different foods. It wasn't the time of the
Mhm.
day that would trigger me. It was the food itself that would trigger me. So I had to figure out, don't buy those foods for a while, see how you do. And I was
So
successful.
you, would you find it triggering if you had your meal and then somebody offered one of those foods afterwards? Would that be
Mm.
triggering to you after you'd already been satisfied with the meal?
You know what? I never would binge in front of people. There was something
Uh,
in me that would not let me do that. Okay. That I wouldn't binge in front of people, but I would binge on that food at certain times. Okay.
do
Because
you
it was
think
a
maybe
trigger
that was
food.
addiction? That was an
Yeah,
addiction
I
to
would
those
say
things?
so. I would say so.
Yeah,
Yes.
'cause addiction
Yeah.
likes the isolation, you kind of hide and you do your
Yes.
addiction.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
But it was altogether an emotional eating. It was that food that was controlling me. The
Mhm.
volume eating, of course, came from my childhood. Fill your plate a couple times, fill your plate. Okay. And
But in that
mine was,
generation, they did that. They did
yes,
that in that generation, right? Because that was meaningful. I mean, they had food scarcity at one point. So it's like,
right.
oh, my
Right.
child is eating. This is a good thing, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. And then the mindless eating. The mindless eating. I was a stay-at-home mom and I only had one child, and that was wonderful. Okay, wonderful. But um, I had to find things to do. And
Mhm.
so I sewed for a while. I made everything I could, my draperies, my mother's clothes, my daughter's clothes. But it was just that mindless eating in between, picking something up and mindlessly just eating, eating, eating. Okay. And
Yeah.
so I had to relearn that, I had to relearn when I was hungry and when I was full, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
With
overrode
the mindless eating, it's not just the food, but we also have motor neurons that are so embedded. We've been doing it over and over, and we don't even realize it, and we just
it.
pick it up. I
Mm-hmm.
remember passing by the cookies or whatever that I'd made for the kids, and of course I couldn't even pass by them without throwing one in.
Right, right, right. Yes, yes. And, I'm not too scientific, so please, enter in when it's scientific and tell me
Hey,
because,
it's totally
I just,
fine. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And I had to learn this myself, you know what I mean? Since I'm not
Yep.
scientific, I didn't read about this. And so, it's always interesting to hear you saying different things like that promote what your brain can actually do to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not
Right.
aware of what's going on. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So it only took me 10 years to lose 36 pounds. And as you said, I became a Weight Watcher leader. All right. And with my experience, as you just heard, it went over well with lots of people. Lots of
Mhm.
people, they could relate to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't lose 100 and some pounds, which some of my members did. Not to toot my own horn, but I had the most people in our area that lost 100 pounds. We used to get necklaces for an event and from Weight Watchers on the leader that had members that lost 100 pounds. And
Oh.
I had so many that what I did with them, they were in my bedroom, and I'm thinking, this is ridiculous to keep these necklaces. You know what I mean? I was proud
Yeah.
that I earned them and everything, but I thought, God probably told me this. Okay, Pat, give those necklaces to your members that lost 100 pounds. And
Yeah.
when I did
That's
that,
special.
Kathy, it was special. And I was so happy to think about that because you're led to do these type of things, I feel, and to
Mhm.
make somebody else feel really, really good about themselves. And
Right.
yes, yes. So
Well, they
that's
did the
exactly,
work, didn't they? You
yes,
led
they
them,
did.
you set the
Yes.
example, but they did the work.
Yes, I
That's
used to say to them because they'd say to me, "Oh, Pat, if it wasn't for you, I would have never lost weight." And I said, "No, no, 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 no. Mm-mm. I'm the messenger. You went home and you did it." And it's true,
yes.
isn't it, Kathy? Yes,
It
it's
is
true.
so true.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yes. So that's kind of my story about my weight loss journey. And well, let's go to, okay, all right, a divorce. I'm going to talk about God now, okay, and
Yep. Yep.
the Holy
God is
Spirit.
welcome in this
Okay,
room. He's
okay,
welcome.
okay. My divorce. 30, 32 years of marriage. Okay. One
Mm,
child, one child, no relatives, no relatives left in my life. Okay. And I think that's why I kept married so long because I didn't want to break up my little family until
right.
my health was being taken over by his um, control, control of
Right.
me.
Yep.
Uh, I called up a woman's shelter, and a pastor's wife was talking to me. Can you believe that? A
Yeah,
pastor's
I
wife was
believe it.
talking to me.
I
Okay.
mean, God's in control here, right?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm
The
trying to
right
point out.
person.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so I explained my life, what I was going through to this woman at the woman's shelter, pastor's wife. And she said to me, and I was about 52 years old, and she said to me at that time, "You just explained my mother." She said to
Mm,
me, "Would you really want to be 75 years old and still living like that?" Bingo. What a statement to me. No,
yeah.
my health was declining over this. Okay. So you will believe me with this because I can't tell everybody this. People that don't believe in God would never believe this.
Yeah.
I'm in bed, and something in my brain it isn't even a voice, but it's directing me. Go down in your truck. Underneath the mat, there's something underneath there. Go down in the truck underneath the mat. It had to come to me 3 times because I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And I went down in the truck, opened up the mat, and there was a bag, a grocery bag, full of our financial papers as a marriage, which I was never privy to. I even said to my husband, if you pass away, I won't have anything about our financial situation. But he knew I was getting tired of the marriage because I asked for a separation. And so he collected all these papers to take them to the lawyer. I had the
Oh,
strength, Kathy, to take those papers that night. The next day he came home and he yelled upstairs to me because I used to go to my room a lot because I couldn't take him. And
right.
he yelled upstairs, "What did you do? What did you do?" And I yelled back, I said, "I don't know what you're talking about," because that by that time I put the papers back underneath his mat.
Right. Right.
And so this was the Holy Spirit. This is the first time in my life at 52 years old, I should be ashamed of myself, that I recognized
No,
the Holy,
not at all.
ho- no? Okay. The Holy
No, not at
Spirit
all.
was
God
talking.
spoke to you at that time. It's good.
Okay. Okay. Uh, the Holy Spirit, it had to be the Holy Spirit. There was
Absolutely.
no sound because I hear people having voices. Okay. There was
Hmm.
no sound. It was just in my brain to do this. 3 times.
Yeah.
They had he had to knock on the door 3 times. And
Knock 3 times.
that's right.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
my husband, being a narcissist, went and got the divorce papers and handed them to me, okay? And I went through a divorce. And Cathy, you'll believe this because you have probably heard stories like this before.
Mhm.
It was like a lead weight was taken off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the feeling was terrific. Not being
Yeah.
controlled, not being controlled after all those years. And
Absolutely.
making a
Just
life for myself, making a life for myself, my daughter and my grandson, helping them out,
yeah.
okay, in their struggles with life, okay. And it was the
It's like you were set free.
oh my gosh, and I have my verse here that somebody gave me, a member of mine that stood by me by through my divorce, and this is Jeremiah 29:11. Be encouraged, for I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean, God
exactly,
speaks the right things at the
oh,
right time.
oh
All we
my
have,
gosh.
yeah, just the right things at the right time, exactly like he did with you, with finding those papers, with him giving you the divorce papers. It's like, yes. And then
Yes.
feeling that freedom of being set free. You're
Oh
set
my God.
free from that bondage, from the control, because God does not want us to be controlled by another person. He wants us to be controlled by submitting to him willingly.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right. And I was submitting to the wrong, I was called a codependent person. That's what I'm called. I was
Yep.
not now, but a codependent person is somebody that puts up with that and, and doesn't know how to get out of it. But I was led out of that. It was amazing to me and what the future was for me. And
Yeah. And codependency itself is like an addiction. It's like you have an addiction to that person
really, see,
and it
thank
was
you.
broken.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I often wondered, am I that weak of a person that I would, but it's an addiction. Oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
enlightening me more.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last part of my life is the cancer. 2 days before my mammogram, I felt a lump. So when I went in for my mammogram, they did find that I had two positives in my little tumor, and my tumor was as big as my finger here, the tip of my finger.
Yeah.
Okay, and Isaiah 4:1-10. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. That's my saying, or my
Yeah.
verse, my
And God
verse.
was with you, is with you, and
Yep.
throughout that cancer journey. So what was that like for you? The cancer
Okay.
journey?
All right. Because I kept my weight off for this 36 years, okay, my health has been very, very good, to tell you the truth. Sure, high
Hmm.
blood pressure, that's from the family. You inherit things like that. Um, so when I went to the doctors, the doctor says to me, uh, you look great. You don't look as old as you are, but your body knows inside you're that old. Okay. I'll tell you,
Hmm.
82. Okay.
Oh, how
Uh,
about that?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Fantastic.
I have cancer
You're
at
looking
80.
good there, Pat. You're looking
Thank
good.
you very much, very much. 81 years old and I have cancer. Okay. So I went home
Hmm.
and I prayed, of course. God, help me, help me, help me, help me. Send me a sign. Wouldn't you know it? When I went to the doctors, the oncologist, the second time, she said to me, Pat, since you're in such good health, I have a study you can go into. Wait till you hear this, Cathy. I ever told you this. I have a
No, I
study
haven't heard
you can go
this.
into. Okay. I have a study you can go into. Okay. And this study, since I was pretty healthy, I would get cancer. The chemo came in threes, 3, 3, 3 during the month, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So within those three, I would only get one chemo and three immunotherapy treatments. I'd get treatments all the time, but one
Oh,
chemo to three treatments compared to a woman who would get three chemos. Okay, this was this study. At the end
yeah.
of my uh, so many treatments, I forget how many treatments I got. I'm sorry. Um, the rule was then I'd have to have my operate that right before my operation. Okay, the rule was if I had any cancer in my body going forward, I would have to have chemo all the time after that, 6 months
Right,
after that.
right, right.
Okay, yeah, okay. So they took a blood test or whatever, and it didn't look like I had cancer anywhere else. So I
I
had my
think it's
lumpectomy.
a really important message, for the listeners right now, because amino acids, which we get from meat, are so important and they have healing properties. They help our bodies to heal. And
Ah,
God coordinated that for you. He brought you under this study. So using
wow.
these aminos to
Yes.
help you to heal and it
See, I
really
didn't know that
reduce,
either.
the other
Okay.
therapies. Excellent.
Isn't that
Wow. God
something?
is so good.
Isn't that something? God
Isn't
is
it
good. Yes,
something?
God is good. Okay.
Amazing.
So I had my lumpectomy. Okay.
Right.
And it was just, oh, um, where do I get what I have? Okay. All right. You don't know my personality. I am very sissy. I'm a sissy. I am afraid. I am really afraid. I'm afraid when I go to the doctor's, afraid when I go to the dentist, my blood pressure goes up. Okay. And I had this that I would say um, before every treatment, and I'm so happy I said this to my Lord. Okay. I'm in your hands, God.
Mm,
And you know
beautiful.
what, Kathy? You know what, Kathy? He took care of me. You're,
Absolutely.
I'm getting goosebumps telling you this because it took the fright out of me. Believe me, it took the fright out of me. I was not
Well, you've
afraid.
seen him then you've seen him lead you so far. He's not
Oh,
going to lead you just this far and then drop you. He's going to
yes.
take you.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe it. Everything. My uh chemo, my radiation, going forward. I'd always say, pray before I went in. Lord, I'm in your hands. And
Yeah.
he just carried me through. Okay. And so, for people not to believe in God, I cannot understand it. Uh, a
No,
lot
I
of
can't
times,
either.
somebody will say to me, "God doesn't talk to me," and I'm not a pastor or anything like that. But my belief is you have to pray to God and you have to listen. You have to listen for what He's going to contact you with. If you
Yeah,
don't
okay.
listen,
And that's
okay.
so true, Pat. We need to listen. But, God is always speaking. He's speaking to everyone that's watching this, and he speaks in many, many different ways. Sometimes it's like you were sharing, like an impression, not quite a voice, but it's like an inner voice. It's something that, oh, it's an impression. Sometimes it's through the word of God, the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's through another person. Something just kind of like resonates with you. It's like, oh, well, that's God speaking to you. Or sometimes even a road sign or through a movie God can speak or artwork or music and he can
Ah,
speak to people many 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 different ways and yeah he's speaking even right now to everybody that is listening, everyone that's watching this. He is speaking. Now how do we stay quiet to listen? First of all, we got to get off processed foods to listen. We really do. Now, not to say you can't hear God with processed foods, of course you can, but when we have processed foods, we're not using our frontal lobe. We're not really thinking straight. And we have to take time to be quiet. So that's what you did. You took a little bit of time to be quiet. Yeah,
and with my healthy diet, the doctor said, with my healthy diet, my positive attitude. I
absolutely.
don't I don't know how I learned that. Is that a God-given thing too after a while? I
Well,
learned
I
that
would say that God gave that to you.
yes, and it's contagious. Do you feel that way? I don't know if you meet
It is
positive
very
people.
contagious.
Yes,
Yes, hang
yes,
around people that are positive, you're going to become positive. Hang around people that are drinking and doing drugs, be drinking and doing drugs. Hang around people that are eating all kinds of junk food, you'll be
right.
eating junk
There
food.
you go.
And it goes on and on, on and on. So it's positive people, right?
Exactly, exactly. So the support group I was with, I still see these people every Saturday. They want me to come
Yeah.
and see them. We want to stick together because of what we're talking about here. We're talking about
Right.
living a healthy life, being
Yeah.
happy, being in control, being in control.
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
time I'll ask them, they'll say, oh, uh, um, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I said, to have control. And that's control of your life too, like you talk about, Cathy. Having control of what
Hmm.
you're eating is so important, like just as you explained, okay? Even to our mental faculties and health
Right.
and
Yeah.
downright health. And so, they were so amazed at my age, okay? They kept saying my age, that, I had that positive attitude, healthy lifestyle. And sure, my brother died of lung cancer at 16. When I was 16 years old, he was 24. Do you think I'm going to smoke? No. Do you think I'm going to drink? No. Some people do, but I ate. I ate.
Yes.
So taking
Hmm.
that away from the addiction that you're talking about, that addiction, well, other addictions too. Now that you explained a lot of things about my life.
They're pretty much all the same, really. And the route to
Okay.
get out of the addictions is all the same, too, basically. You got to
Okay.
stop the substance, get yourself a new community,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll move into in a few minutes, into your communities and how you've evolved that. But
Mm-hmm.
all that has to happen. And we
Yes.
have choice.
Yes. Yes.
And God will lead us. That's the important part, right? And God
Yes.
will lead us if we ask Him.
And doesn't it give you an excitement? Doesn't it give you
It
your life
does.
a happy life and it actually an excitement? Because when I first was divorced, I was invited to a ladies retreat, and I never was at a ladies retreat before. And my friend that gave me that plaque invited me, and I sat there and I listened to the testimonies of the women getting up,
Mhm.
and here again, I'm sitting there. And the Lord had to say to me, Pat, you're a speaker. Aren't you going to get up and speak? And I had no plan to do that because I was never at a woman's retreat before.
Right.
But with God's help, I had to get up and give my testimony of what just happened to me and how you
I'll
can
bet that affected a lot of women.
overcome it because I never heard that before off of anybody.
Right.
No. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so many people are struggling even today, with their
Yes.
food, with eating, with binge eating or cravings or junk food or whatever it is, or other addictions. Like I said, they are strongly similar. And so
Right.
your testimony, which is why you're here today, really, is to share your testimony so that you can impact more lives. You've been impacting lives, for years. We're like living epistles ourselves. We're like a book read by all people. They look at us, they look at you, Pat, and they think, wow, she's looking great. I want to be like that. Right. So it's a testimony.
It is a testimony. And you know what? I I agree with you because I have more work to do. And you're proving to me by asking me to speak today that I do have
Yep,
more work to do. Isn't that amazing?
you do.
I beat
It is
cancer.
amazing.
I was
Yeah,
able to beat cancer to be here today. Unreal.
I know. I know. It is amazing what God's doing. And of course, he's using social media, but he uses in our own personal lives, as you said, with
Hmm.
Saturday meetings.
Hmm.
He's using us all the time, even people
Hmm.
that we've never really met before.
Right.
We can impact their lives. And it doesn't take a lot to impact someone's life, Sometimes it's as little as a smile can change someone's day,
You're
or a
right.
kind word, or a little
Yes.
compassion, or a little bit of help when they need a little bit of help. It
Right.
doesn't take much. We don't have to have all kinds of degrees behind our names. We don't have to know the Word of God from beginning to end, memorize it backwards, forwards. What we need the Lord, but we just need to be kind one to another and tenderhearted
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
forgiving one another.
Right. Right. Exactly. And I was led to see you by a friend. You know what I mean? I never uh, uh, go on YouTube or anything that much. You know what I mean? To figure things out. But Sally, our friend, led me to you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I see the work that you are doing, and it is just wonderful. It's just wonderful that God
Yeah.
has enabled you
Um,
to do.
Sally
Yep.
and I have been doing some other sessions, not here, but within the addiction reset community. I do believe
Hmm.
we have one of them posted here that's called Luminous Mysteries, and she's a wonderful woman. She's Roman Catholic,
Hmm.
and it was very enlightening to me because I'm not Roman Catholic and I know very little about the rosary. So it's an interesting conversation, and
Hmm.
it's just about outlining the life of Jesus. So
Right.
that's also fantastic.
Right.
I want to go on, if you're ready to do that, into
Sure.
how you got into from Weight Watchers. You know, what kind of brought you from there into, I believe you in Bright Line Eating, that plan? Is that correct? Or are you?
No, I'm
Or
not.
you're
I'm not
not?
with Right Line.
You're
No.
not. Okay.
No.
Okay, well, I'm mistaken then on that plan, so we'll
I
change
I
that
just
ticker.
came into Brightline with Sally. With Sally. She
With
she
Sally. Okay.
Yes, she has been a friend of mine for years and years and years through Weight Watchers. Okay, and uh, so she contacted me uh, right after my cancer scare to come and talk to her, okay, at her home. And we got back together again, and
Cool.
going forward,
Cool.
she has enlightened me and gave me the opportunity to talk to you and some other people, which I enjoy talking and hearing everybody's concept. In what is going on, how we can make ourselves better, or even through the verses that people are, give us that really make an impact on our lives. Hmm. Yeah.
Right. So I know for myself, right? I'm carnivore, but and a lot of people that follow are on all
Hmm.
kinds of different eating plans. The one
Hmm.
thing we have in common is that we're pursuing health. We're trying
Right.
to do whatever it is that we can do to pursue health.
Right.
And most of us are also believers, many, some might not be. But what I'd like to know, if you don't mind sharing, is what exactly are you doing as far as your eating plan now?
Okay. There's such a thing as good health guidelines.
Okay,
If you would Google that, it would bring up a list of good health guidelines, which foods you should be choosing.
okay.
I had addictions with foods, as I explained, okay, and different emotional eating and different things like that, addictions. And but these foods that I went, and everybody's different, Kathy. I agree with you. Everybody,
Absolutely. I'm going to
you
agree
you
with that.
you do
Yes,
what's working for you. You do what's
yes,
working for you. And I even used to
absolutely.
say that to Weight Watcher people that weren't following the program either.
Yeah, if
I
it
said,
works, don't
if it
change it.
works,
But if it's
yes,
not
don't
working,
change it.
then you might want to change something.
There you go.
Hmm.
There you go. So my food plan is proteins, whole grains, veggies, fruits, and dairy. And that's the choice. Healthy foods. Strictly healthy foods.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. But
And
real
yes,
foods,
real
right,
food.
Pat? It's not stuff
No
that's coming out
processed.
of
No,
a
no, no.
package with a barcode on it and all that kind of stuff. It's real food. And I think that that's the important thing that we want to bring in here, that the food that you eat is as close to how God gave it, not
Right.
something that's ultra processed through some company with all additional poisons added to it, preservatives, whatever it is. No, we want to stay as close to nature as we can, which isn't
Absolutely.
perfect, but
Right.
as close as we can.
Exactly. So processed foods, this is the way I look at processed foods, okay? When I'm reading a label, and I was taught to read labels on foods also to see the calories and this and that and the other thing, okay? But anyhow, if that there's something in there that you don't even know that what it is, okay? You don't have it in your kitchen, okay? Then it's processed because they're
That's right.
adding in, you know this, Cathy, I'm sure you do. They're adding in things to give me a word, so we'll buy it. It'll taste so good. There's so much sugar in it. It'll taste so good with so much fat in it.
That's
Different
right.
things like this, that they're adding that in to processed foods. What a terrible
Yeah.
thing. I'm
And
sorry.
absolutely. And they do that by design,
Hmm.
having neurochemists that are working on
Hmm.
it, trying to get you
Hmm.
addicted to whatever it is. That's the whole
Right,
point, right? So
right,
it's by the
right.
capitalists. It's like, let's get these guys addicted to whatever it
Yes.
is, Frito Lay or whatever. I don't know. I don't, maybe shouldn't say names of companies, but
Yeah,
whatever it is,
right.
right? It
Whatever
could
it
be
is.
anything, a chocolate bar, a bag of
Right.
chips, or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Right.
And yeah, so staying as close to nature as we can. And if you buy anything in a package, look at the ingredients.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
don't understand what it's saying, or if it's got a list of ingredients, don't even bother. If it's got
Right.
one or two things in there, like I'll buy um, like meat sticks or something. Well, I want to see what does it actually say in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, it's saying beef, pork, whatever, salt, maybe. But I don't
Yeah.
want things that are going to say all kinds of other stuff. And
Right.
with the sugar, you were talking about sugar there for a minute. Sugar is on labels under many, many, many different names.
Right.
So it's easy to get deceived. It's what I call deceptive dainties. They're deceptive.
Yes.
So
Yes. It's
let's
true.
not be deceived.
Because a lot of people don't recognize it goes to your brain. Yeah, I
Mhm.
wasn't taught that with Weight Watchers, okay? I wasn't taught that with Weight Watchers. This
No,
plays with your brain and gives you that endorphin feeling of happiness when I was eating my chips. you know,
absolutely. There's
it's
a lot of chemicals that are at work, the endorphins, as you said, but we
hmm.
also have the dopamine,
Yeah,
and our blood sugars are going up and down.
yeah,
It changes our mood. We have so many things that are happening behind the scene, insulin that stays up.
right,
And all of that affects us. It affects our mind, it affects our emotions, and it affects then what we do.
right, right,
So staying with clean eating, close to how God prepared it.
right, right. And like you say, it does one thing doesn't work for everybody, but you can actually
Right?
find what works for you. Yes.
That's
Healthy,
right. And
healthy.
sometimes that takes a little bit of trial and error. We're learning, we're asking
Mhm, mhm,
God. We look for wisdom from other people like yourself, Pat. It's like, hey, Pat, what's working for you? What's working for you?
mhm,
And
mhm,
you can then share your story like you're doing today, and other
mhm.
people can say, okay, I'm going to try that. Now,
Right.
some people don't want to try right off the bat carnivore because they're like, oh my goodness, I'm not doing that, just meat.
Mhm,
That doesn't
mhm.
make sense to me. And that's okay. That's okay. But let's look at health and become the best version of ourselves that we can be health wise. And that starts with what we eat and what we think upon and who we hang around with.
Right,
And how we
right.
move our bodies, everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And my when I was speaking to a lot of people at one time, I used to say, somebody would speak up and say, "Oh, I tried this and it really worked," and another person would say, "Well, that would never work for me." And I used to say to
Right.
that person, "I'm sorry," I used to say to that person, "Try it once. Try it once. You
Yes.
can't say it doesn't work for you if you've never tried it, Kathy. I don't know how you feel about that. Try it once.
Absolutely. I agree.
Something isn't working for you, try it once to see if it could work,
Right.
you know?
If it's working, stay with it. If it's not working, try something else. There's many,
Yes,
many, many roads lead to Rome, so they say, right?
right,
So
right. And I'm sure God's going to lead them to the right one to choose, you
he
know what I
will.
mean? Yes.
If they look to the Lord to lead them, he will
Mhm.
lead them. into
Mhm.
what's going to help their body. Call out to him and he will be there. He is a very present help in a time of trouble. So if you're troubled with what you're weighing, if you're troubled with what you're eating, if turn to him and ask him what you should do or what
Uh,
you can do. Ask him to lead you to someone somewhere. There's much out there. Pat, I'm just wondering when you first started to go from what you were eating and you're binge eating and you went and you changed things and you started to eat maybe on this plan. Do you have
mhm.
any issues with social gatherings? Do people kind of harass you and say, "Hey, have some of this dessert," or do you have it sometimes, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I lost some friends. I have to tell you the truth. I lost some
Yeah.
friends when I lost weight, okay? Because of what you're saying. For one thing, I feel they were jealous that I could do something that they never could accomplish, okay? So they didn't like it that I would stick to my guns when I was with them. But I
Right.
knew,
Right.
I knew I had to stick to my guns and what was working for me.
Mhm.
So my program for me, Kathy, is took a long time. Just wasn't eating like you say, and it probably took you a long time too with eating just
Oh,
the
yeah.
meats. Okay, to figure it out. What's the combination?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I
I
still
would.
work on it.
Yes, me
Like,
too. Me too.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But what I have accomplished with mine is I have a folder that I kept my recipes in that work for me, food suggestions put together like breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Yes,
that work for me. And I had to mostly concentrate on that. What breakfast is going to help me? And I used to eat that all week long to get used to it. Okay. Because sure, I wanted donuts, you know,
of course.
and so getting used to that. So that's really how I worked my program to get used to it was these breakfasts that I have periodically that work for me. Okay. And I've have several of them now as years gone by. Lunches, the same thing that work for me. Dinners that work for me. So when I go out and open my menu, my eyes used to go to fried foods. Other person, it was my girlfriend. It was dessert. She says, if I could order a dessert, I'd rather order a dessert instead of lunch. And with me, it was like fried shrimp and French fries.
Right,
And
right.
that doesn't work either. So when I open the menu, my eye goes to exactly what I need. If it's afternoon, it's a salad. If it's dinner, it's I like fish. When I go out because my daughter, I live with my daughter and she hates fish, and so I can't make it. I
Oh,
don't make
okay, okay,
it.
yeah.
It smells, Mom. It smells in here. And so I'll order fish, and I know where the best fish is broiled, and things like that at all the restaurants. And so I think having a routine for me of
Yes.
things I know that work, and after a while, after years of doing that, I kidded him the other day about my Pringle can that I used to go and eat when I had to travel
Yeah,
to
yeah.
one of the meetings
Mhm.
45 minutes away. So on the way home, I'd get a Pringle can, and by the time got home, I ate the whole can.
It
And
was gone, yep.
yeah, it was gone. And I'm telling people how to eat healthy, and I'm doing this. Well, I felt
Yep,
guilty. I felt
yep.
guilty about this. I wasn't gaining weight, but I felt guilty. Here I am not controlling this one thing. So the other day, I said, that Pringle can I used to eat? I finally don't have to have that. I said, after 15, 20 years, I've mastered how to not pick that up.
So,
And
Pat, have you found that your taste buds have actually changed?
yes, oh, yes, oh,
Mm,
yes, big time.
yep,
Something,
yep.
when somebody used to say to you, oh, this is too sweet, you thought, oh, yeah, come on. No, it's too sweet when I go back and eat, what I used to eat. Yeah. And
And you know what? You know why that is? Again,
no.
it goes back to addiction. It goes back
Ah,
to addiction. So somebody that is addicted, okay, so they're going to have something, and it's like maybe it feels like too much, but then they have some more, and then they need more to get that same sort of dopamine hit or whatever. They need
ah,
more and more and more, and
okay.
so they want extreme sweet and more sweet and more sweet. But
Wow.
then when you get off of all of that stuff,
Mhm.
You
Mm-hmm.
taste just a tiny bit of sweet, and you don't want to try it, folks, because then you might wind up back in your addiction. But you try even a tiny bit for some people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's it. It's too much. It's
And
too
it's
much.
funny.
It's like I
Yeah.
taste something, it's like, oh, I can tell there's something here. It's like alcohol. I haven't had alcohol in many years. I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember somebody giving me years ago when I was still eating sugar, but it was a piece of Christmas cake. And it was, so I ate a bite, one bite. And I said to the woman, I said, is there alcohol in this? She said, oh, yeah, it's been soaking in whatever it is.
Oh
I said,
no.
I can feel it. I can feel it in my elbows. I feel like this sort of weakness going through my body.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when you get off these substances, off the chemicals, off the sugar, off the processed flours, off the alcohol, off this, off that, when you get off those things, if you touch it, you are going to feel it immediately. And if
Right.
you still are, you may not want to touch it ever. Like sugar, keep it away from me because I don't trust myself with sugar.
Right. Right.
Right?
And I have to say this about my cancer experience, okay? And I'm not downing this person, dietitian, that in a way I am, okay? Because after my treatments, I did have a problem eating enough. Isn't this something? After all those years of eating too
Yeah,
much, I
I
go
can
through these
understand that. Yeah.
treatments. Okay, okay. And I couldn't eat enough. Okay. So she comes in and she says to me,
Oh, your
well,
microphone is Pat. For some reason, your microphone just faded right out. I don't know what's happening, but it's on your end, I believe. I can sort of hear you a little bit. I don't know
oh
if
no,
give it a try.
can
Keep
you hear me
talking, and
now?
we'll see if you not
Can
very
you hear me?
well.
No.
No,
Oh my.
it's got like some kind of. It's really quiet in the background for some reason.
For goodness sakes. Can you hear me now? No?
No,
Oh my.
no.
I don't know what to do.
It's so do
Oh
you
my.
have, I don't know if there's anything on your screen to change. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so you're unblocked,
Okay.
but
Okay. Can you
I
hear me
don't
now?
know. I'm gonna edit the mic settings if I can and see if that helps at all. Echo
Oh.
cancel.
Hello? Hello?
Maybe I can turn yours up. I don't know if I
Hello?
can. No, maybe not. Let me see. Try that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Hello?
All right. Yeah, I hear you.
Hello?
I turn,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I
Okay.
hear you.
The
I turned up
dietitian.
the
Okay.
microphone setting for you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Because I don't know how. The dietitian came in and I said,
Yes.
what can I do? I'm hardly eating anything and I don't have any energy whatsoever. She says, you're going to have to eat sweets. This is what she says to me. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to eat sweets for a while. Okay. And was going to a fast food restaurant and getting a fish sandwich that was deep fried and everything just to get calories. Okay. And I did that for maybe 1 or 2 months. But like you say, Cathy, I didn't enjoy that. I wasn't
Yeah.
enjoying that. I wanted real food. I was so used to real food. So I had to turn that around myself in order to get to eat the healthy foods that I've been eating, and I did that. There's, just by what you're saying, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Recognizing I can't keep eating this, and your tastes do change, but it was so sweet, and it was so oily and greasy that I could hardly stand eating it, but I had to in order to get over, I guess, this whatever till I got a
Yeah.
little better, a little stronger. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And dietitians, I mean, they're all trained by the system, the medical system. And so a lot of that funding comes from pharmaceuticals and corporations that are trying to sell their products and so on. But I remember one time just having one of those fizzy waters that are flavored. And I was at work and I'm drinking this water that's flavored. There's no sugar, no sweeteners, nothing in it. And I said to my coworker, I said, I don't know, this is so sweet. How could this be so sweet? I don't get it.
Um,
But it isn't. It isn't. It was just the flavor. Yeah.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. Yeah. So it's a good thing that once you get off that, things do change. Your tastes change. So I feel that's a positive. You know what I mean? to not want
Absolutely.
that
It is a
sugary
positive.
foods and to see the reaction. And I think that's what has to happen. You have to see that you're, no matter what program you're on, your program, my program, whatever, that you really feel better and you're
Yes.
having a healthy weight and you're feeling so good with these type of foods that you better not go back to what you're used to doing. Okay. And
Absolutely.
that becomes your lifestyle after a while. And we're
It does.
better for it. We're better for it, Kathy. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're better for it. So, is there
Hmm.
anything else that you would like to share with the people that are watching? Maybe how they can get started? How can they change their life from where they are to where they want to be?
Well,
What
they
should
have
they
to make
do?
a plan. They have to make a plan, that's for sure. They have to
Yes.
make a plan and ask the Lord. Ask the Lord. I
Yes.
have a friend that lost 162 pounds, and she credits it's all to God because
Absolutely.
her doctor said you're going to die, and she was only in her 30s. You're going to die
Mhm.
162 pounds heavier. And she
Yeah.
prayed and prayed and prayed. And he sent her somewhere to lose this weight, okay? And she did it. She did it and kept it off for 50 some years. So listening to us, maybe, okay, that it's possible, no matter what situation you're in, if it's uh, being so overweight that your doctor says, you know, you're not going to live long. With me, with the nerves and everything of my life, okay, and the ups and downs, you know, if you don't eat better and all, you're going to be unhealthy also. You know,
Yeah.
even listening to that and making a plan for yourself and never giving up. Oh, that's my slogan. I'm sorry. Never giving up. And yeah, yeah. Hmm. And
You know,
my
God,
slogan,
God never
another
gives up
slogan,
on us.
no, and
God
another
never
slogan
gives
I
up on us, so we don't want to give up on him. Sorry,
no,
Pat. Go ahead.
that's all right. Another slogan I have, nothing is impossible and the best is yet to come. So you have
Absolutely.
to,
Nothing is impossible, and the best is yet to come. That
through
is
God.
so true, Pat. And it
Yes.
doesn't matter whether you're in your 80s or in your 20s or your 30s, the best is yet to come. You know,
Yes.
because God has a plan. He likes plans, and He has a
Right.
plan for each one that's listening. He has a plan for a future and a hope. And even now, so true, Pat. I'm glad you shared that. Call out to him, and he's going to lead you
Yeah.
somewhere, to someone, to a book, to something.
Right.
He's going to lead you. Just call out
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
say, "Hey, these two ladies, I don't know, these two ladies, Pat and Cathy, they said if I call out to you, you're going to lead me." Well, guess what? He's going to do that.
Yes. He
I'm
has your back.
very
He has your
confident.
back.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is there any last words that you'd like to say, Pat? Otherwise, we'll close it up before my battery
I
goes down.
think I have it. Yeah, I think I have it. I think I did it.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you so much for being here today, Pat. And you've just been a real blessing to many people, to me, and many others that listen to you. And wherever you go, your life is a book read of all men. Your life is a testimony. So I want to thank you for being here. And we will see you probably on Thursday night at the Kingdom Way.
Absolutely. Okay, Kathy, thanks for having me.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Whoops. Yeah, bye-bye. I kind of,
Oh,
something happened here. There you go. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. That was such a blessing to listen for a little bit there to Pat. She has a fantastic story, and it's just been wonderful hearing that. And if you do want to join the Kingdom Way, it's on Thursday evenings. We have meetings at 7 p.m. Eastern. They're free. They're on Zoom, and it's just a time that we gather where we can talk about life, let go of the weights that have been holding us back in life, and I mean all kinds of weights: spiritual weights, emotional weights, physical weight. And we talk about our food plan. Also on Thursdays at noon, there is a carnivore group that meets in the same Zoom room. The number is scrolling on the screen. Thanks again for watching, and I'm glad that you could be here. Thank you for watching. I pray that there was something that you could take away for your own life.
God bless you all. I welcome you to join me as we gather together for this abundant life that God has promised us. Contact me for details on ministry in your church or one-on-one spirit, soul, body, or keto carnivore coaching sessions with me at reverend.cathy.dickson@outlook.com. And we do have free sessions available Thursday evenings, 7 o'clock. To get that link for the Zoom session, go to facebook.com, The Kingdom Way. It is time to let go of whatever's weighing you down. You can also reach me. thekingdomway.com is my website, at The Kingdom Way for YouTube, / The Kingdom Way for Facebook, The Kingdom Way on Instagram, and thekingdomway.bigcartel.com if you'd like to sign up for any coaching, and local carnivore cafe. God bless. Thanks for being here, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe.